The views and opinions expressed by guests on this show are those of our guests, not necessarily ours. We are interested in presenting different viewpoints and strive to be neutral parties. We leave it up to you to make your own judgments. Welcome to Vision Chat, a podcast about spiritual topics, with your hosts, Virginia and Stina.
Welcome back to Vision Chat. In this episode, Virginia and we are interviewing Terje. Terje Nordkvelle is a spiritual explorer who is seeking out answers for how the world works. He was previously a journalist and a coach. Right now, he's working as a travel manager and has a YouTube channel where he is sharing wisdom, healing, and much more. And you can find the YouTube channel at Terry and the Guides Inside. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to start off just talking a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, 4 years ago, I would think that this topic was silly and weird and only spiritual, strange people were interested. So this is quite new to me. So it was the classic, the dark night of the soul, the depression, should be called the dark night of the ego, right? So it was years of despair and frustration and yeah. But I did get some really, really clear signs that this world is more than you think. I heard a voice among other things, and that was just lying in bed in the middle of the day, totally depressed, and suddenly a woman's voice speaking Swedish. So that really, made me go, what is going on here? And started searching for answers. And I got this hunger for knowledge about how this world works. I could spend like 12 hours a day just studying. It was crazy, yeah. So I'm still there, but the hunger is a little lower now than it was.
We hear a lot of people talk about the dark night of the soul, and usually when people talk about spirituality and how they started, there's almost always, I'm not going to say 100% all the time, but most people have something like a crisis that happens, right? And I've heard this said before, so it's not mine, but I've heard it said before that, if you're having fun and everything's great and life is beautiful, you don't go seeking answers. You're like, oh, exactly. Life is great. I don't care. Life is good, right? But it's almost like something has to almost bring you down to your knees. And there's a suffering, there's pain, there's agony. And then you look to God, the universe, source, or something else to say, okay, now I need some answers. It sounds like something like happened to you.
Yeah. My life, I had money. I was a kind of a popular guy. I worked in radio. I not famous, but some status I had, and life was good until it wasn't. And I think that's true, Virginia. In many cases, there's some kind of crisis. Yeah. So this thing that happened to me is definitely the worst thing that has ever happened to me. But it's also, now that I see it in the rearview mirror, it's also the best thing that ever happened to me. And I find that totally fascinating, that it can be both the worst and the best thing. That's insane, right?
Do you have any labels or anything you call yourself?
No, and I actually don't even like the word spirituality, because if we call it religion, if we call it spirituality, people label it, right? They have some idea of what it is, and I don't think it's spiritual. I think it's what is. It is the world we live in, and I think, and calling myself, labels me somehow, and people have opinions about that. So I'm trying to explain this, my findings and my views and my experience, in a way that resonates with people in general and not talking about spirituality as such. So I actually try to avoid those labels.
What do you use instead, or what are you comfortable with when you're trying to talk about these things that are so hard to really explain sometimes?
Well, I'm a big fan of talking to the universe or our guides or higher self, or I don't really think, I might be wrong, but I don't really think anyone really knows how these things are organized. So I'll just call it the universe. I call it the guide inside, right? We all have, and I could use words like intuition or gut feeling. I think that's guidance. Suddenly you look at the counter for no reason, and there's your phone. You were about to forget it, but you suddenly looked at the counter. Why? I don't know why I looked at the counter, but I did, and now that's my phone. Because on my YouTube channel, I get a lot of messages from people in despair, telling me there's no guidance. They have left me. I'm all alone. But I think they guide us in ways like that, looking at your phone suddenly on the counter, and Virginia, I kind of went off your question now, but yeah, no, it's talking to the universe and building a relationship with the universe. And when I start communicating with my guide inside, my guides, I say, hey guys, that's my intro. So I try to use it to make it as easy as possible and as casual as possible. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this? I would much rather learn than to be right.
I was thinking before I will say my thought of it. Like, it sounds like you're using it day to day and understanding that this happen every day in small, like it is big, but small things that you don't really think about. And you have to like be present to see it in a way.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. So being grounded and just taking, you don't have to meditate. Meditation is great, but you don't have to do that, but just be still and kind of be present to it. I think, yeah.
It sounds like I'm and we'll get more into your podcast, because I really would like to learn more about, the kind of podcast you have and the people that you're talking to, or your YouTube channel. It sounds like you're coming across people who are looking for big signs, almost like something coming out of the sky to say, here,
Yeah.
here's a miracle you can believe in, but the reality maybe is more like you were saying, like, did you pause and look somewhere without thinking, and there was the thing that you needed? Or an example I kind of like to use too is, like, if I'm driving in traffic, do I go left, do I go right? And maybe my brain is saying go right, but something's telling me no, go left. It might pay off to go left, and you're going to avoid. So it's those split-second moments. Sometimes it's something trivial like traffic, right? Not life and death, but maybe it is. I don't know, right? If I go left, do I avoid traffic or something bigger?
Mm-hmm.
Which is being present for those kind of things, right? It sounds like your guide inside your intuition.
Absolutely, and just a classic is you're having some issue or problem or whatever, and you're in the shower and you're not thinking about that issue. You're thinking about, where's my soap? I have soap. Where's my towel? I have soap in my eyes. And then boom, out of nowhere, you get the solution to this problem. We all experience that. I think that's guidance. You could call it gut feeling, subconscious mind, intuition. I think it's all connected. I don't know the answers to this, but that's my opinion. Now, maybe it's different tomorrow. I don't think that idea came out of nowhere. It's guidance, and we get guidance all the time, but we don't recognize it as guidance. And if your plane is delayed, say thank you. Maybe you avoid being in an accident because of this delay. And me, I don't drink anymore, but I have been, drunk walking home from a party, not remembering, just me waking up in my bed without broken bones and still breathing. It's guidance, right? So I think it's all around us, but we kind of don't notice it.
I agree with you. I have a story
Yeah.
from one of my friends. Her mom, she was working at a school and she had quite a traveling road to her job. And one day, she was thinking, okay, I should go home now. But somebody stopped her for like 5 minutes chat. And if she had traveled instead of talking to this person, she might been in a huge accident on the road on her way home. And it's like, oh my God.
Yes, yes. So I try to raise awareness about this guidance and that we all have a guide inside, whatever you want to call that, higher self or spirit guides or angels or I don't know what they are. Because I think it helps this journey and this life, I think it makes it easier if we understand that we're not alone and you can actually talk to them and they answer often in funny ways. If I see a beautiful sunrise, I say it. Hey guys, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And having that conversation makes my life much more richer. Yeah, I think it can increase people's lives quality if they do that. So I think that's one of my drives to do this.
Do you want to tell us more about like what you're doing with your YouTube channel?
Yeah, the main message, I guess, when I started out, I discovered that my intention was the key to manifesting. Weird things happened when I put my intention into it. So I developed kind of a framework. It's very easy. You intend what you want, and then I ask for help, and then I let it go. Because we all heard about manifesting, and I believe in manifesting, of course, and I believe in vibration, and I believe that life is like a mirror. You get back what you send out, and all those things. And I believe I have limiting beliefs that stops my manifestation using the classic law of attraction methods. So what I do instead, and that feels so much better to me, is that I still have opinions. I intend what I want, and then I ask for help. And when I ask for help, my limiting beliefs can't stop the manifestation because now my guides and my helpers are on the case and they're powerful. You know, they can do stuff I can't. That's how I feel it today. So that's my limiting belief gone. And I also leave it open. I say this or something even better. So I don't know what is coming. And my limiting for my inner critic, it's impossible to block what you don't know. So that's how I use this. And I find it so liberating to do it this way. Because I think a lot of, oh, I need to feel the joy of already having it. It doesn't work for me because it's fake. I intend, I ask for help, or this or something even better and in the best interest of all, and then I let it go. I call it the popcorn approach. I see it as sitting down, putting my feet up, eating popcorn and watching the show. What will appear now, I wonder? Oh, cool. I did not see that one coming. Nice job, universe. Thank you. So that I think letting go is like my main message. Not trying to manifest alone. You know, we're not alone in this universe. We're all one, right? All connected. So it's a co-creation between my intentions and whatever source figures out. So letting go manifestation is my main message these days.
So you're putting out content around this.
Yeah.
Like
Also, I my friend healer Jonas. He's really well connected. So I learned a lot from him, and it turns out that I'm into healing as well these days. So interested in that. It works really fast and really well.
Do you want to talk a little bit about this healing that you're doing and how does it work for people that doesn't really know what it is?
Yeah. So I decided just to share my journey about healing because I went to his course in healing and all the participants had success on day one. And I felt this intense burning in the palm of my hands immediately. And I believe in healing, but I did not think I would feel anything. And it was boom. And I'm just sharing my journey and telling people I have this feeling, and I ask people to test it. And it's to test it, you just focus and you speak if you out loud if you want to the healing energy. You can say, hey, healing energy, I'm going to sit here and meditate for 10 minutes. Feel free to go through me and use me if you want to. I have no idea where the energy goes, what it does. But what Jonas says is that the human is only an anchoring point, like a channel. That human is not doing anything. But it seems like that healing energy needs the humans to go through in order, I don't know, maybe because we're on this planet and the healing energy goes to something on this planet. So when I do that, I say, I just give it a thumbs up and okay for me. And boom, I feel the burning instantly. And I share that and I said to people, hey, you want to try it? Get back to me. And the comments pouring in, it worked, and they say that it worked immediately. Not 100%, but like 90% of them. So we're just sharing our results on the YouTube channel. I don't know how I'm going to use this, or I'm just in a curious phase. So it's really cool. It's really, it's a strong burning feeling in the palm of my hands. I actually got blisters, and Jonas said I was a little worried. And he said, no, it's just your palms, hands adjusting to the healing energy. He had the same thing. So it's quite amazing. And people who've never tried it go, yeah, it works. What do I do now?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of, like tingling sensations. I have experienced tingling sensations, but never like what you're talking about, like a burning. That sounds more intense.
Yeah, I can still see it, I guess. Blisters. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's not painful, and for me, it's a confirmation that is real, right? Because I can feel the burning, and it's not my imagination. Because I do believe that we should be critical and doubtful still. Keeping a critical mind is good. Open and critical at the same time, I think so. But this gives me a kind of a confirmation. No way I could have produced those, no, so that's really cool.
That's very interesting. And like, I can imagine going from like 4 years ago where you weren't thinking about this at all, that this was possible. And like the shift to now, it's like day and night.
Oh, two different lives, two different worlds. I don't enjoy eating meat anymore, which I really did enjoy. I don't drink, which I really did. No, it's so, and it just happens, right? It's just it's amazing. It's really amazing. Yeah. So, but you guys, you had this from I read from your bio. You kind of were on this journey or this path, early on, right?
I don't know how early for me. I mean, I think mine started more kicking up around COVID. So
okay.
Around when COVID hit. I had started a little bit before that, like being curious about things and being a little bit more open. I went through my own crisis and, met people because I was looking for help, met people that connected me with other people. And I was taking classes, and then everything kind of kicked in more for me around like COVID because, there was nowhere to go. And we all had to figure out how to keep ourselves entertained indoors and how to make connections with people without actually being physically present with people. So for me, it was meditation. And then just learning out of the meditation, naturally, the other skills kind of kicked in, the clairvoyance and all of these other things that were pretty neat.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's similar to what happened with you, and I'd love to get your opinion about this. Like, I stopped drinking also. And I was the kind of person that I love my glass of wine at the end of the day. I love my nice cold beer in the summer, when it was hot out. And when I started doing this a little bit more, I could not drink. I felt sick. I tried drinking because I said, no, well, I like this. So I insisted and I pushed myself and I'm like, nope, I can't do it. So it's the one weird thing that happened to me as a consequence, I think, directly of this. And I've talked to different people that have different opinions about it, but I'm really curious to hear about yours. Why do you think you stopped liking some of these things that you used to like?
Well, I used to enjoy feeling a little buzzed, right? I like that feeling, like one or two, maybe three beers, just a little the happiness zone kind of. But I didn't drink because I didn't feel like it, and also I got sick, very sick drinking, much more sick than I used to, with less alcohol, and I was. Going into Germany on a river cruise, and we were going to this place, and they made their own wine, and they told a story about the wine and how they work with it and everything. And I got really curious about tasting it. So I tried, just a few sips, and the wine was fine. But then I got this feeling of course, not drunk, but you feel the alcohol effect. And I really didn't like that feeling at all. I couldn't wait for it to go away. And of course, it was gone in like 20 minutes or something. But it's really curious that you just change my the what I prefer. Yeah. So weird, really weird. Yeah.
I had something similar happen where I was at an event and they were handing out these really beautiful champagne glasses with this, I don't know what it was. There was some kind of alcohol in it, but it was mixed. So I thought, oh, if I just have a little sip, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. And I kid you not, within seconds, my head felt heavy.
Oh.
And I just felt awful. And same thing. I was like, I cannot wait for this to pass.
Yeah.
I can't be in this heavy feeling in my head from a little bit. A little sip, like you said, like you take a couple sips and you think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I still drink beer, but not alcohol-free beer. And I like the taste of beer, but I really don't like the alcohol. Yeah. And I truly feel so much better not drinking altogether. It's beautiful. How about you, Stina? Do you still drink, or has it stopped for you too?
No, I stopped as well. When I was a teenager, I think I drank a lot, but once I started opening up to the clairvoyance and meditating and stuff like that, it's not the same at all. Like before, I felt like happy and it was fun and you did like crazy stuff, but after it was more like this is dense and like almost kind of gross in a sense, or you feel like it's something weird instead. And me too, I get like, I remember I was on a dinner with my parents and my sister, and we shared like a package on the dinner with like different types of alcohol that is good for the food. And was like, oh, okay, I can try. It's been a while, but it's probably a nice experience. But after that, I woke up like I couldn't sleep. I was so nauseous. It was like my body just wanted it to get out of my system.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting.
I was with a group and they were going partying, and I was no, I'm not doing that, right? So and I went to look at flowers instead. Is that crazy or what? And I thought to myself, what is happening to my life? They're going partying and I'm looking at flowers. Oh my God. Yeah, so it makes this, this journey, this life we probably chose, it makes it, by living this way, it makes it very cool and like an adventure. Because when you let go of these things and open up for guidance and things, things show up that you could never, if you try to manifest by yourself, you're limited by your imagination, right? But by letting go, suddenly you find yourself on Saturday night looking at flowers and enjoying it. So it's opening up for everything. It's really, really cool. Yeah.
But then that example that you're giving is like you are finding joy in the simple, beautiful things. You can find beauty in flowers, and that can bring you happiness and groundedness, and like it brings you on another level, I feel like.
Yeah, and it is fun to see the differences between my old life and my new life, and I enjoy this. I did enjoy my old life. And for quite a long time I was in the awakening process, I was much happier before the awakening than during the awakening. I wouldn't change it for the world, but I was much, if you count the amount of smiles every day, tons of more smiles before everything this happened. Now I'm getting better at it, so I'm maybe, well, no, yeah, I'm getting up at that amount of smiles I had, but it was a long period, but no way, I did not enjoy this at all. So it is, can be, for me anyway, quite challenging also, yeah.
I feel it's kind of looking behind the curtain and be like, okay, now I cannot really unsee it and be in
Yeah,
the place still.
you can't unsee it, right? So there's no way, there's no going back because alcohol is gone, meat is gone, there's no going back. Do you find I hear a lot of people talking about COVID as a turning point? I interviewed an owner of, let's call it an alternative shop, where they sell books and incense and, tarot cards and everything. And she said, during and when we opened up after COVID, an explosion of young people coming in the door. Big difference. And this was in Sweden. So I think maybe something happened there. Do you think so?
I think a lot of people were forced to look within themselves, look what they're doing in the day-to-day life, and they finally get a pause. Like the world stopped, and then they had actually time to relax, feel like, okay, what am I doing with my life? Where am I going? Is this meant to be for me?
Yeah.
And what is out there? Because I think within the society that we're living in right now is you're growing up, you're having education, going out to work, doing whatever you need to do, getting a family. Like if you follow that, you don't really have the space to think and feel where should I go? It's more the expectation you have. And because of Corona, it was like, but now like I cannot really go to my job. I cannot do anything without just being with myself.
So that's a good thing. And of course, there's also always gifts in the so-called negative things, right? So this is an example of that. And of course, what we hear and learn is that the whole world is changing, right, into a higher vibration, and we're on track.
I heard from somebody, and he was telling that it was a shift between the 19 and when it comes to 2000, that the people getting born in 2000, they're more open when it comes to spirituality, and like they remember more than the people that were born before the 2000.
And at the same time as that, we see more polarization and a big gap between people. So we also see that, right? But maybe that's just older people contributing to that. I don't know. But I thought that now finally we would, come more together. But it seems like, it's going the other direction. I'm kind of confused about that. If we talk about the political situation and what people are voting for of political parties, it tends to be those parties that has a big us and them attitude. And I'm really a little surprised about that, because I thought we were done. That's really old-fashioned, us and them. Yeah, maybe we need a new round of that before we can move on. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you. I think like the dividedness within the people too. We are forced to look at it and we are forced to do something about it, or it's building up to fall down so we can rebuild it in a way. But at the same time, I think I feel the same. At one side, I feel like we should have evolved much more than we are right now.
Maybe it's part of the human condition, to have like fear. Because I think that dividedness and us versus them has to do with being afraid.
Yeah, that's true. I find that true, that it's either love or fear in all decisions and in all perspectives, and it's very often either one.
And maybe to your point about what you were talking about earlier about COVID, we had another guest, Alma Coleman. She, very young girl, very wise. What she said is, we couldn't go outside, so we were forced to go within.
Oh,
And
that's a good one. Wow, that's a good one.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
And I think it did that worldwide,
Yeah.
right? It was like a hard reset. It was like we were going fast, 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 go, 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 produce, 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 do more, do faster, do more, do faster. And, but people are not well. People are unhealthy. People are unhappy. And so it was kind of like something had to happen to make us all just really stop. And that was it, unfortunately, I think, and fortunately, because good and bad came out of it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's another good point. I would just like to mention that, because I think part of my depression, the start of it didn't start with awakening. It started with a grown man depressed, right? Classic. A part of it was feeling like a failure. And I think you were talking about Virginia going fast, this living this busy life. I think a lot of depression and anxiety and burnout and not feeling joy could come from that we are trying to fix everything ourselves. By not being guided, we think we're alone, we think we have to do everything. But if we still have dreams and intentions and goals, but if we ask for assistance and then let it go and watch the show eating popcorn, it's so much easier because we're not doing it alone anymore. So I felt like a failure because I failed in many, aspects of my life. But when I see that I'm not in a vacuum and I can see cool things happening, and more cool things are happening when I let it happen, right? So by having this letting go perspective and living life that way, I think also we can help people with depression and burnout and all those things. And they don't need to see themselves as failures because they're not creating alone. It's a co-creation, this world. And we actually, talk about trusting the travel agency. Before we came here, we planned not every little detail, but the big things. We planned them out. We had a meeting with a travel agency, and we come here and we knew we would forget. But we also knew that if I listen to my heart and I go within, I could find some clues to who and what I am. And I think trusting the travel agency that remembers your trip, it makes it so much easier and so much more fun, and life so much more like an adventure than trying to fix everything. Because I think that's the root to much suffering, trying to fix things alone, right?
Do you feel like you have found your purpose within this life?
I do really, really think that. And I feel guided towards this message as well. Yeah. Let me say, I have tried 1,000 messages, but now my YouTube channel is responding, the views and the comments, it's responding very well. That happened just recently. Now I get, while we record this, around 1,000 subscribers every day, which I know it's not a lot for the big, but for me it's like, it's just amazing. Yeah, I don't understand it, and I'm struggling a little bit with enjoying it because it's all new to me, and my inner critic goes wild, and everything is crazy these days. But I think, Stine, I think I found my purpose with that message. I really think so.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We also, when we talked to Jonas, he introduced us to your YouTube channel. And we went to watch on it, and we saw like 3,000, but now you have like 7, almost 8,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. That's so cool. I can imagine, as you said too, you have to kind of adapt into it and like process it in a way. But on the other side, it's like a clear sign that something is going right here.
Yeah. So it's actually, maybe you don't want to use this, but I find it interesting that when I got 1,000 subscribers, I was over the moon of joy, right? Finally, 1,000. Oh my God. I'm guessing you know what I'm going to say next. And when I got 4,000 subscribers, I was 4 times less happy than I was when I got 1,000. Now, why is that? I might be my self-image that not used can't cope with this, but I'm also a little afraid of it because I'm afraid to. And we get I interviewed Jonas, and he has some amazing results on that video from people watching it. Just truly, I'm gonna be really honest now. You might not want to use this. I don't know. Yeah, you do what you want. When you have read 100 comments of people having their life changed, comment 101 does not affect me as much, right? That's normal, and it really makes me go, do I want this? Do I want to be like that? To read someone pouring their heart out, and I go, yeah, okay, I'll click like and love and move on. And what happens when I get like, maybe I get 10,000 in a few days subscribers, and I will probably feel less joy than I felt when I had 1,000. So is it called spiritual ego I'm afraid of too? You know, this people now sending me emails asking for advice. This is all new to me, and I'm really scared of, well, as long as I'm aware of it, it might not happen. But spiritual ego is the ego clings on to spirituality. Oh, look at me, I'm so fantastic, you know. So that's really something to think about. Is yes, I want the subscribers and the views. I would like to reach people, but it's really something to be aware of and to stay true. And yeah, I don't know. It's all new to me, these things.
Well, I get excited when we have 20 subscribers. I'm like, yay!
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
it. That's all we have, you know. But I will admit, I mean, we are striving, like, you know, Stina and I have set goals like, okay, let's reach more people. But
Yeah.
that's the reason we want to see the numbers go up, because then that shows us that we are, you know, doing this for something. You know, we're
Yes.
reaching more and more and more and more people, and that the messages are getting out. To your point, when you're talking, I was thinking, I wonder if that's part of your purpose. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, I don't know. But maybe you are a person who, in a way, that's your purpose for being here, is to reach people, and you're not even really trying that hard, but something that you're doing is connecting with people, because they're not just going to subscribe to you because there's something about you that people are connecting to, and they're like, wow, this is helpful.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful and joyful about reaching so many people. I guess it's just, I'm sure it will fall into place and be okay when I'm more used to it, I guess. What about you, Stina? Thoughts?
I think, well, the first thought that came into my mind is like, do you have fears of being seen by so many? Or
Yeah.
do you feel like it's okay for you?
No, I don't. No, I don't mind. I used to work in radio, so I'm used to an audience somehow. So that's okay. But it's more like becoming the one who doesn't care when people tell a story because I've read them so many times before. That guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I understand. I think it's like, I might be wrong here, but like, no matter what job you do as well, when you're kind of getting used to it and kind of getting used to the feedback, you kind of, what do you call it? It doesn't affect you as strongly as it did in the beginning, because you have more experience, you are growing. And maybe this is a way for your body and mind too to take it a little bit like an arm length, so you don't get completely lost into all of that.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Well, that's very good. Because when I had 60 views per hour, then I thought roughly every second of the day someone is watching my message, and I was really happy about that. 60 views per hour. Now it's like 2,000 or something, 1,500. Yeah, and also back to manifesting. I'm sure I tried to manifest a lot of subscribers. Thing is, and I do like that, but thing is, I'm not sure we know what we want all the time and what's best for us. So also letting go of manifestation is also a good idea, because we really don't know. You know, I want a Ferrari. Really? Do you? No, the insurance is a pain, and you can't park it anywhere because you're afraid you can't drive it when it rains. And No, we probably don't want a Ferrari. So we really don't know, right? So by opening up, it's so much easier way to manifest, I think. Yeah, I really do want to be authentic and real and talk about doubt and talk about I don't have the answers to this, but this works for me and for so many others. And I ask, it's a community because people have experience and knowledge and they share it in the comments, and I learn and they learn, and that I think that's a big part of why taking off. It's not compared to other channels, but from what I'm used to, it's taking off.
Yeah, and I think there is so much scripted out there on YouTube and social media. So when people actually see, okay, here is a person that is actually true to themselves and vulnerable enough to share, that is going to make an impact too.
Yeah,
And
I think
that's
so.
very brave. Yeah.
And also with AI, with a lot of content, we're going to be even more flooded with content and AI content. It's already here, right? So authenticity, a human talking to another human, I think is the way to go, like you guys do. Yeah.
Do you have any advice to give somebody that is interested or just starting on their spiritual journey or having the dark night of the soul experience?
I would start talking to the universe out loud. And you can say, okay, this is, I feel silly now, but I'm going to give this a shot. Probably won't do anything for me, but I'm going to do it. I'm now talking to whoever is out there, and I would like you to make yourself known in some way. Give me a sign, or I would like an answer to my problem. Starting by doing that and paying attention to if you suddenly get an idea out of the blue. Maybe it wasn't you that created that idea, right? Where did that come from? Boom, there's an idea related to what you asked for. Without you, the way I see it is that if you're looking for science, is that a sign? Is that a sign? No, it's not a sign. If you're not thinking about science, you're thinking about gardening, and then it pops up without it being related to what the thought you were thinking about. That's a sign. So, and also with things happening in your life, being aware and talking, saying thank you, being grateful, and yes, having as high vibration as possible. That's good, you know. I would start there, I think, talking to the universe and intending and see what cool things can happen. So today, my intention, have a morning intention. My intention today is that I'm gonna be joyful and ask for help to be that and see the difference. You will forget that you have the intention, but when an evening comes, you go, whoa, I was joyful today. So it really works with, I call it spoken intentions. It's really, really powerful. And and don't listen to me. Listen more to your heart than to me, right? Or to any people giving advice. Be true to yourself and listen within. Then the heart never lies, never wrong. So use advice like we give as a starting point, and then just take it from there on your own. It's like meditation. Yes, you can learn it, or healing. Yes, you can learn it, but even better, learn it and then find your own path. Then throw that away, that thing you learned, and then find your own path, right?
Are there things that, when you were going through your dark night of the soul and you were searching, are there things that you came across that were helpful to you, like books or podcasts and things like that?
I dove into everything, religion and old scriptures and books and quantum physics and everything I could think of, and they all point in sort of the same direction, and that's the direction we're talking about. That we're not alone, and we don't die when we die, right? So there's only really one theory out there. There's not a lot of theories. There's only one. There might be some details different, but it's really one. And I found biggest joy in watching podcasts and YouTube videos about near-death experiences. I thought that was beautiful, and no way so many people sit there and lie. No way. And there's been studies into this. So near-death experiences really moved me, and of course takes away all the fear of death. It's gonna be a good day, right? So yeah, that's my advice. But there's and also the awakening, and it can be very lonely. It was for me a very lonely journey because your old friends and family, I tried telling them, but you see quite fast that no, they're not interested. So finding other people that are interested is also a very good advice.
Have you read the book of Michael Tamara?
No, I don't think so.
I don't remember what the title is. Do you remember, Virginia?
It's called You Are the Answer.
Yeah.
Ah,
In
okay.
that book too, he talks about near-death experiences too. So I think if you enjoy that, you will enjoy this book.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
Well, it's the YouTube channel. It's Terry and the Guide Inside. That's the if you Google Terry and the Guide Inside, I'm sure it will show up. So it's mostly the YouTube channel, yeah, main project.
Is there anything you would like to share that we haven't talked about?
We're not alone, never, ever. That's a privacy issue if you're being intimate with yourself or someone else, but that's the only downside.
Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with us and for sharing your story. And it was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for listening to Vision Chat. You can find more about us at visionofprofoundhealing.com, where we offer readings, courses, and classes.